Hey guys, it's Tuning Tuesday, Season 2, Episode 25. And the thing, we brought our stuff.
Yep, we can talk about oil pump gears. And
I never sent Chris the email about what to put in the streamer at the bottom. Next time you guys will have like fun stuff to look at the bottom of the screen again.
Oh, an FAQ section?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
So anything exciting happen in your post 4th of July weekend activities?
Not really. Had a cookout on Saturday, that was about it.
Hot diggity dog.
We did Hellcat Miatas.
Yeah, we did that last week.
Yes, we did.
Or more accurately, you, while I was inside doing other stuff.
Dude, that thing is so cool.
An MB Miata with a big old nasty Hellcat motor.
Yeah, let's take the most ridiculous engine we can think of and put it in the tiniest
So
car.
what's power to weight on that? Like a 2,200 pound car with the engine?
I did the math on it, and it has pretty much the same power to weight ratio as a 1,200 rear wheel horsepower Hellcat. So it's about the same as a 1,200 tire.
I feel like we need that translated into Mustang talk though.
Oh Christ!
What is that compared to a Mustang? We're talking like 4,000 pound curb weight.
The car weighs 2,400.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about the same as probably 900 to 1,000 tire on a Mustang.
Okay.
But it's in a completely useless chassis, so it does lots of crazy burnouts.
Does he still have the IRS in there? Do you just do like an 8.8 diff swap or something?
Yeah, it's got IRS. It's got an 8.8 IRS in it, and it's got all this fancy. It's got a lot of suspension on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that all of it is up here, and there's nothing back here.
Yeah.
So there is no weight split anymore. There's no 50-50 split.
It's probably still like 52 or 53, 48 or 47.
No. All of it is sitting like right there.
Did they have to move the engine forward?
I don't know. I didn't look at it that closely per se.
Because I know that Miata stock are like right at 49.51 or right at 50.50.
Yeah, with a lunchbox for a motor.
Yeah, but they're still not light. You're only adding like 200 or 300 pounds, and you're not changing the weight in the back. So
I don't know. I think it's more than 200 or 300 pounds.
He said it's 400 pounds more than stock.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it's probably just 400 more over the nose, and then the rest of the car is lightened up.
I feel like we need to do the math on this.
Either way,
who cares about tuning questions? We're
going to get to the bottom of this.
Exactly.
The weight split. Either way.
What are all these boxes?
I don't know. The car falls completely into the obnoxious category, which is right up my alley.
What tires does it have it on? Like 235
it has
still?
Some Hoosier R6s, R7s. I was close.
Brian's
6,
got
7,
you.
8s, 9s, whatever. I don't know. They just get really sticky after doing circles. It's a circle.
It's a circle. No beginning, no end.
So we'll be, I think the video is due out tomorrow, right, Chris? Brian? All right. So you guys get to see the video on it, us doing Miata shenanigans.
Nice.
So he's on his way to the Hoonigan thing this weekend.
Ooh.
Or, this weekend, something like that. He stopped by Gas Monkey and showed them the car for, was it yesterday or the day before? And now he's on his way to
meandering
California.
on over to Cali.
Meandering over to California. So, in hindsight, I probably should have set him up with a 91 tune.
Was it just corn? Or was
No, it's pump gas. It's stock injector, stock pulley for now.
Okay.
That's what I was telling him. Is like the only thing it's completely ridiculous to begin with. The only thing it's missing is another 250 horsepower. So that's phase 2, I guess.
And that was a 6-speed car, not A8?
Yeah, it's a 60/60
nice
manual car. And I mean, it hooks okay. Justin drove it. We were following. We were playing chase car, and I mean, it tries to hook.
As much as a small little Miata can.
Yeah.
That must be like snap-overs to your nation then. Because those things are such short wheelbase.
I won't drive it. That's all I'm saying.
You ain't trying to die?
Drive it? I'm like, nope. I want nothing to do with this.
We have a couple things here, but not anything super significant yet. But the blue, Ralph, a couple people were early, kind of hanging on, waiting for the show to start.
The show is already started.
Ralph wants to know, does anybody out there have a Gen 2R set up?
Gen 2R?
Anybody out in the
Sounds
internets?
In the
Out.
interwebs?
On the interwebs.
Courtesy of Al Gore? Wait, what?
Let's
Man, bear
see. Cameron came back and said, I'm rocking the True Gen 1.
Yeah.
Ooh.
OG
Jeff
stuff.
Scarlin says Turbskis.
Turber.
Hassan says, Joe, happy Trolling Tuesday.
Thank you, sir.
And then Mike Whedon says it's Tuna Tuesday.
Tuna Tuesday.
There we go.
T-U-N-A.
Yeah.
Nobody likes the tuna here.
And then Pedro says tacos speaks rules.
I haven't done tacos in a couple weeks now. I feel like a traitorous person.
So what if it's tuna? What if it's Tuna Taco Tuesday, like Fish Taco Tuesday?
I feel like you're getting into dangerous territory
Yeah.
in Fish Taco Tuesday.
Poor boy's singing. He says wheels in the sky keep on spinning.
Good times.
I'm told to tell you to grow your beard back.
It's beard loading.
I was gonna let homie know that if his wheels are in the sky, he's doing it wrong.
Or right, if the front wheels are in the sky.
AKDMB says this question is for Matt.
Uh-oh.
How does the speed density logic in the Copperhead PCM compare to the virtual VE logic found in Gen 4 GM PCMs? Do the two systems serve the same role?
They Jesus. They accomplish the same thing, albeit slightly differently. GM does not use mapped points like Ford does, where Ford uses they try to. They do use variable cam in the sense that variable cam plays a role in the GM speed density tuning, but it's not.
It's not mapped out the same way.
It's not
that
mapped
Ford
out
maps it
anywhere
out.
near the same way. Ford definitely does it differently than anybody. Aside from that, most of the GM is still mass air and speed density combined, so they rationale check each other. And a lot of tuners will still put it into MAF only mode, and unless it's doing something real crazy, a lot of people just put it in MAF only mode and tune it that way. So whereas Ford is predominantly going straight to speed density on a lot of stuff. So it's kind of hard to compare them to each other. They do tune differently. Ford, most of your fueling is done with the slopes, the slope offsets and stuff.
Yeah.
HP tuners has made our lives a lot easier in the GM world because they now have the speed density calculator.
They have it in Ford too.
So it does. I'm so used to doing it old school way on Ford because they didn't have that at first that it's just easier for me to do it that way. So the speed density calculator in GM seems to work really well, but trying to compare them, it's almost impossible. They do the same thing. They just do it so completely different ways that it's hard to even compare. I don't know if that really helps you with your question, but that's basically my input on it.
Alexander says hello to everyone.
Hola, Alexander.
Shelby Canada West.
Shelby Canada West.
Jeff says, obviously tech has moved forward a lot since the 80s. I remember speed density 5.0 boxes being converted to mass air.
Yeah.
So are the new speed density systems as adaptable, tunable as the MAF cars?
One can almost argue even more, especially when you get into a boosted vehicle because it basically uses, it's not using mass air, so that does two things. One is it takes a sensor out of the equation. You're not having to worry about a mass air meter being in a bigger or smaller tube. You're not worrying about if it gets dirty, if it's, anything
Or
like
bad
that.
signal.
Bad signal, or if the air is tumbling when it hits it. Ford uses the speed density, and then it uses basically a bunch of logarithms to calculate the airflow, as you know. So you end up with a better fueling model that's more adaptable to changes in elevation, boost levels, things like that. The modeling tends to stay more accurate. And it's not affected by intake changes or things like that. So I feel that the speed density system is now way better than the mass air
E4.
system. Yeah, the
Or even-
only catch is it's so infinitely more complex that it's really starting to separate the tunas
From the
from the
tuners.
tuners. So because you have to know how to calibrate the thing, and you pretty much
You have to math.
You have to math. I started digging into it more into the EcoBoost stuff, and basically you got to end up pretty much have a quantum mathematics degree to really, if you want to truly understand it at the root level, it has a lot of quantum math involved. It's kind of nuts. It was enough for me to like hit it in reverse and back out of where I was. So, no, that was it. As far as that, in closing, I think the speed density is a lot better. It's got its advantages for sure.
By quantum, do you mean quadratic?
Or sorry, not quantum. Thank you. Sorry. I'm thinking not quantum. I meant quadratic. Sorry. Sorry, not quantum.
It's all right.
We're not doing some Men in Black stuff here.
I was like, it's a quantum computer?
Sorry.
It's okay. I just want to make sure they understand it properly.
It's all the sweet tea from Chipotle.
Ooh, man.
You went to Chipotle today?
I love Chipotle.
She looked at you with eyes.
I know,
like
she's all mad.
You kicked her metaphorical puppy.
I worked through lunch today.
I love Chipotle.
I worked through
ongoing argument because
like
it seems that only Justin and I like Chipotle and everyone else does not like Chipotle.
But I was thinking that sounds like good dinner.
Chipotle is amazing.
That's what I was thinking.
I worked through like 70% of my lunch, and then Chipotle is supposedly doing free delivery till July 7th or 8th.
I wonder if we could get them to deliver here.
I don't see
With
why
enough
not.
money, anything is possible.
Oh, maybe we should make that happen. Michael Vera says, I'm tuned by you. My Nitrous isn't firing. How can I test my window switch?
Most window switches have a test function, like the Nitrous Maximizer 5. You can open up the menu for it and key on engine off. You can test all the outputs to verify that you're hitting all the entry criteria. So like if you have a throttle position based input, you can verify that when you put the throttle down, it's hitting like it's converting to the green signal to activate. And then you have like, they have like clutch interrupters and stuff where you verify that clutch is all the way down and it works properly. And then they have, engine RPM would be a little bit trickier. I guess you could test the engine RPM criteria without getting into the pedal position criteria. So if you have those two criteria set up as nitrous activation, you could have one or the other and not get it. But together, then you get it. So you could test your RPM, test your tach, and then test your pedal.
There's a couple different
You should be good. And then some of them have a pressure switch cut off to where if it's below or above a certain pressure, shuts it off.
Yeah.
And then they have heater control stuff, all that type of stuff.
I'd say we'd like to help you more on that, but I think you'd almost have to, if you're having what you think is an issue with the window switch, probably want to contact whoever made that window switch and ask
Whether
them if
it's
they've
like
got a test function
MSD
or God, there's so many. NOS has one.
Nitrous
and
Maximizer.
Pretty much every Nitrous kit has their own window switch. Plus there's additional companies that make window switches depending on what you're doing. So
yeah, so for the sake of troubleshooting, get with the manufacturer of whatever kit you're using and see what type of troubleshooting or test procedure they want you to
move
go
all the
with.
bottles under the seat, so you got to flip it forward and you turn it on, and then you
Sneaky
put the hazard button that pops out.
Yep.
And then you hit
it's
the
got
hazard
another button.
and then you hold on, and it's like and
you do rotary stuff.
Yes. Sorry.
Your Doritos are spinning.
Jason?
And have the tiny bottles mounted under the passenger seat.
That's
what we're saying.
Seat forward.
Sneaky Pete's.
Jason says, I have a tuning question that is too long for this format. Is there an email I can send it into?
Yeah.
Joe's.
Damn it. I was going to say support at vmptuning.com. But yeah, my email's also on.
Yeah, it'll get it to one of us. We'd be more than happy. I like questions. Questions are fun.
D-Man says, Milk Thursday, Joe.
I did have milk.
Thursday.
Although today's not Thursday.
That's 4th of July. So last Thursday was.
I think I know what he's insinuating. He's coming for a Dyno tune on Thursday.
Oh, and he's
So it's Milk Thursday.
That's right, because we have the unsung. There's the unsung agreement that if you bring you large amounts of promised land milk, their horsepower numbers go up.
Bring milk, and the numbers will come.
Yes.
Brian just died.
Jeff Smith.
Our goal is to kill Brian with one of these episodes.
Jeff Smith is online, and he
Hola.
says, I've seen this dude at Arby's.
What dude?
What dude? I don't go to Arby's.
Right
I know it's not me.
This is right after we were talking about Chipotle, so I was guessing you.
Oh, I was not at Arby's. I don't go to Arby's. Like maybe once a year.
He's not to be seen at Arby's.
No. They do have the meats,
404 not found.
Brian cracking up. You ever remember the old Roger Rabbit movie?
Yep.
When the bad guys start laughing and they die, and they start floating up. It's gonna be Brian one day. He's just gonna start floating up.
Yep.
Cameron Maurer? Is that how you say your last name? Says, I brought Joe milk and didn't get my numbers.
Ooh. So he wants his milk back.
Sad face. He says sad face.
We got everything we were comfortable with getting out of your car, Cameron. You know that.
Global Spark Adder.
Huncho James wants to know what's a safe horsepower number to run daily on an 07 to 9 GT500 with a Gen 2R.
Depending on fuel.
I was gonna say fuel and supporting mods kind of changes what's safe. Because like you can have no supporting mods and push it to 700, but that doesn't mean it's safe.
Right. I usually say actual horsepower, all things being the way they're supposed to, 700, 650, 700.
And to me, that's like a long tubes car
Yeah.
with a 2.4 upper, no lower pulley, 93 octane,
Right.
good cold air, good throttle body, all that stuff. And then even then, most of them end up around the 670 mark. Occasionally you'll get one that is happy,
Yeah.
ends up right at that 700 mark.
If it's on corn and all that other stuff.
Oh, if it's
then
on
I'll
corn,
put-
then
we'll push
full
a little bit
send.
more. Yeah.
That or 93 in Boostane.
And don't over rev them because that breaks them too.
Yeah. I'm just playing with these boxes down here. This is a bad idea.
I know, I'm
They-
sorry.
I can spin, can you?
I think I can.
Sorry,
Yep, we're
guys.
good. Oh, no.
Oh, slight drag. Here,
If
wait,
you had
if I-
seen this office earlier, you would understand why
It is
we're
true.
underneath the...
I actually walked in here before lunch and I looked around and I walked right back out. It was like, oh, they are not, no.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He's okay.
Let's see what we have here. Aiden says, I'm sorry I'm late.
Love that kid.
It's okay, Aiden.
His birthday's this weekend. He's going to be 10.
Oh, man.
Jeff Smith says he came back and said maybe it was the one time you went to Arby's that he saw you because he
Maybe.
saw you at Arby's. Either that or you have a lookalike.
God, I have not been to Arby's. I've not been to Arby's in New Smyrna, I promise you that.
He probably wouldn't have seen you in New Smyrna.
Oh.
Induction Addiction says, what are your thoughts about compound boost with a Gen 3R if someone had a ton of money?
I know
We were
that the
talking about
blower is not designed to be operated at pressures above atmosphere. I don't know exactly what would happen if you tried to run it above atmosphere, but Eaton has rotor sets that are specifically developed to be run at pressure ratios above 1 atmosphere that are better suited for stuff like that.
I was talking to Justin about this too, and he said that there was like, I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but he said something like he thought there was a way that you could modify it to accept, like put a vent or something, vent a gear. I think it was vent the front gear drive or something like that would make it, because I think that's the only problem is if you push air past the internal seals, you're pressurizing the crankcase, the gear drive in the front. I think that was the problem.
I'm not sure. I know that Eaton makes V-Series rotor packs that are designed to be run compound.
The fact that they even do that is pretty neat.
They do it on a lot of super small displacement stuff, like some Volvos and stuff run.
That falls under
turbos
the
and
try it, let us know
superchargers.
what happens category.
Yeah, I mean, by that same token, the Eaton M112 and 122 weren't designed to be run at pressure ratios
Right,
over
people
1
did it all the
atmosphere,
time.
and they did it.
Oh yeah.
I
Good
just
old
don't-
Hellion Hellraiser kits.
I can't give it like the full stamp of approval without knowing exactly why they don't recommend doing that.
Try it. You might try it.
You
You'll
might
like
have
it.
a really good time.
We have Kellen Stone on the line. John Arber's on the line.
all the people.
Damn. Everybody.
We have, poor boy says, happy birthday, Aiden.
Ah, there he is.
Melvin Vega says, hi there, Team VMP. He's on the line.
Hola.
Poor boy says, what are your thoughts on the 19 Mustang hitting 1,414 horsepower?
I saw
Awesome.
that 19, and it's on a dyno jet, so I'm usually the first one to go, no, that's not working. But it was on a dyno jet. I looked at the graph, studied it, stared at it for a while. Looks legit.
I'd say it's possible.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You can do anything once. That's a whole lot of boost shoved at that thing. The things
Yeah.
that, I mean,
that was
you
probably 25, 27 pounds.
I mean, you can see the thing's trying to tear itself off the dyno, so it's making power. There's no doubt about it. So, sometimes you see those dyno
And that
like,
pull was over quick. I don't know if that
Yeah.
was 6th or 7th gear, but that was a fast pull.
yeah. Well, that's what I was getting at. Is you can watch the damn thing just dig itself into the dyno.
And
I'm
then
like, okay, it's making steam.
Right when he let out, it picked up like 8 inches in the back end of the car. I'm like, yeah, that's making power.
That's, I mean, sometimes they'll be like, oh, I made 1,200, and you're sitting there watching it like, no.
And then you go out on the street and it's hooking in first gear. It's like, that ain't making 1,200 wheel.
So it looks legit.
Yeah.
I can't comment more than that. I don't know anything about it other than it was a twin kit.
Yeah, the Hellion sleeper kit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good for them.
Sweet.
Lots of people are saying happy birthday to Aiden now.
Happy birthday, Aiden.
He's so happy.
Yeah, poor boy says those straps are no good after that.
Have yielded the straps.
Brandon Cormier says 93 octane is all I have. So how much horsepower is available on an 18 F-150 5-liter Roush charged, and what does it take to get there? Thanks.
That's a weird way of posing a question. How much horsepower is available?
Well, he's basically saying, what does he think he can get out of a 93 on a Roush kit?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know an exact number. You'll make lots on 93 until you run out of direct DI pump. Then it's all downhill from
Yeah,
there. As soon as you start
fuel
running out
pump
of
booster.
DI pump.
Yeah, because you usually max out the
You usually
port
max out
pump
lift,
first.
Yeah, you max out the lift pump first.
and then once the lift pump starts dropping pressure, the DI goes very quickly thereafter.
Yeah, oh yeah, it needs
needs fed.
70 plus to feed it at all times, for sure.
Because then you'll get insufficient fuel flow, it'll start closing the throttle, all that stuff.
I don't have a number for that one. I've never...
I haven't done enough F-150 1819 trucks on our dyno to say. We've done a few via email, but we don't know what power the truck's making via email.
Well, we have that remote one I got to do tomorrow morning, so I'll let you know what it makes tomorrow morning.
Exactly.
Beards and Cars says, I'm going to install y'all's dual fan heat exchanger. Is it a must to move the IC pump? Mine is already mounted on the lower cross member on my KB setup, and I'd rather not move it if I don't have to.
You don't have to move it.
Topper wants to know, can Joe tune out in the rain? This rain is getting old, and the Shelby drivable these days are few and far between at this point.
I'm reasonably okay with the rain because otherwise it's so hot
Yeah.
that I will almost, because I'm not like I'm racing right now anyway, so I'll take like rain in 80 or 85 versus 100 and no rain.
Yeah. Because rain usually means you get a breeze too.
Right.
And
The
breeze
problem
helps a
is
lot.
whenever it does stop raining, then it's going to get
Then
bad.
it's super humid.
Yeah, because it's going to start burning all or boiling off all this water that is just laying everywhere, and we're going to have a bad time.
Yep. Then you get the meat sweats.
So this is for you, Joe. So what's up with the oil pump gears?
You should do them. Always.
Um,
Even like if you buy a brand new vehicle, you should install them in the parking lot before leaving the dealership.
Yeah.
Stephen Dickinson would like to know, what's the preferred rear axle ratio for supercharged 18 F-150 Super Crew 4x4 Coyote? 331, 355, or 373s?
I don't think it really matters, and the reason for that is you said 18, right?
Yeah, so he's got
So
10
it's
speed.
got
So
a
he's got
10
like a
speed.
469 first
and
gear.
the truck already has the most ridiculous, the 10-speed in general, already has the most ridiculous first and second gear there is anyway.
I'd say probably go
So-
like a 331.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is I don't think there's going to be any measurable performance difference one way or another. I really don't. I
Yeah.
don't think that anyone's going to go faster than the other.
I think the only time you're going to get into weird stuff is if you're running like a 35, a 33, a 34, as compared with
Yeah.
like a stock 30 and a half or 29.
Or if you if you plan on putting a bigger tire on it
Or if you
too.
want to go Mustang tire size of like 28, then definitely go with like a 331.
Yeah. I don't think I wouldn't lose a whole lot of sleep over it. I would just pick one.
Austin Brooks wants to know, Joe, do you guys make a kit for my GT350? Yep.
Only if you install oil pump gears.
Oh, that's an inside joke between me and him. one of my
And
buddies
are you
local.
able to turn the biscuit reluctance from 10 down to 1 in my tune?
Ooh, yeah, we definitely need to turn your biscuit reluctance down.
Has Eric Brooks added those parameters yet?
I don't know. I don't think he has. I'll have to tell
Let's see if
him.
he's added them.
I'll have to tell him to add that stuff.
Don't put it past him to actually name something like that, too. For example,
I
there
would
is-
die.
like the timestamp stuff that goes up to Fortnite.
Yep. I like it.
I would like this fuel injector delay to be 1 fortnight, please.
That's a hell of a delay.
Benjamin Ford has a 2.9 Whipple on a 12 GT500. He wants to go to a Gen 3. Is both the higher flow pump and triple pass heat exchanger needed?
Neither are necessarily needed to go to a Gen 3, but at least do the heat exchanger.
Yeah.
And then, like, I'd say the pump would be optional on a setup like that.
More boost equals more heat. More heat needs to go somewhere. Either into the intercooler system or into the engine. It's your call.
Yep.
In concerning a VMP TVS setup, why should someone choose you to tune their vehicle over a competitor?
I'm glad you asked.
I feel like
Joe?
that's a silly question. We only do them every day. I mean, if that's not reason enough, then I don't know what is.
We design them. We make them. We test them.
The reason even more so is if you buy the kit through us, the tune's free.
There's that too.
I mean, you know, that's an option too.
So, pretty much nobody's going to out-experience us on that combo. It's just not happening.
No, in terms of TVS stuff, no one's going to out-experience us, or at least VMP TVS stuff.
And on a serious note, when you're talking about a remote tuning session, the advantage to that is if you do have, we've seen it all for once, or like we've seen a thing or two, you know. We've seen it all, so if you have something going on mechanically with the car, we can usually do a much better job of pointing you in the right direction on what needs to happen or doesn't need to happen because we've seen it before.
I've seen people pin wiring harnesses wrong, try to pick up the relay signal
Yeah.
from the wrong connector.
We've seen injectors upside down.
I've seen mass airflow sensors in backwards.
Yes, I said that right, injectors upside down.
I've seen evap solenoids hooked up to the throttle body Y harness, throttle motor control.
That's
I've
a good
seen
one.
some interesting stuff.
So the point is
I don't know
help you with
how,
that
but
stuff.
they did.
I guess my thing is they're designed here, they're developed here,
Right.
we
tested
see
here.
more of them here in this shop, and you tune more of them here than anywhere else. I mean, it doesn't mean that other companies can't tune well, but why not go to the source that specializes in that particular product?
You lead a horse to water.
I know, but that's just my common sense, I think. But
I feel like that's logical common sense.
thank
OP
you.
is already tuned by us and he's trolling.
Who's OP? Oh, this guy? Yeah.
I know, right? Jason says, thoughts on the Edelbrock 2650? Can VMP write a tune for this setup? How much does the Edelbrock tune leave on the table?
Are you talking about a Mustang or an F-150? And are you talking about 11 to 14 or 15 to 17 or 18, 19?
It does not say here.
What do you say? I just need an arrow, like a flash
Slab
start.
Check says, how the heck do you get an injector upside down?
He worked harder to install it upside down than he would have worked to install it the correct way, but I have a picture. I have seen it. I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it.
I've seen it on 3 separate occasions.
That's the first
It's
time I've
usually
seen
with
it.
IDs that I see it.
It was 100% upside down, and it ran somehow.
15.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
Oh, sorry, the Edelbrock came back 15 to 17 Mustang.
They do decent. The only drawback with the 1517 kit is, or the previous 1517 kit, I don't know if they've made the newer Gen 3 Coyote kit retroactive or backwards compatible. But previously, the biggest issue with it was the inlet restriction with the throttle body, with the factory throttle body in the inlet that they provided. You'd make a good amount of boost on the hit, and then the boost would slowly feather out as it went up top. So like, let's say you made 13 pounds at 3,000 RPM. By the time you got to 7,000, you're usually at like 11 or 10 pounds.
Yeah. But yes, we could tune it.
Yeah.
Ray Shaw's on the line, says, hey guys.
Hola, Ray.
Hey Ray. Rick Carr says, hey Joe, for the daily driven 93 pump gas S550, is the 3R worth over the regular 3? Already have full exhaust DW400 pump, DW95s, and a Vortec V3 SI that has got to come off.
if I was in your boat and you weren't planning on doing a built short block within the next year or two, then I would just be fine with the Gen 3. The Gen 3 is still a great blower.
Save the money.
With that being said, Gen 3, I believe, is going to be phased out, and at one point in time, you aren't going to be able to buy a 2650 from VMP without it being an R, so do with that information what you will.
Jonathan Whitaker says, good afternoon, everyone. Are you ready to dyno my car for the millionth time, Joe?
Are we there yet?
He just needs his own dyno. Just keep
He
it.
does. He's talked about that.
Just keep it over there on the dyno. Oh, that's Whitaker's dyno.
Exactly. But to more pointedly answer your question, I'm ready when the car's ready.
He was born ready.
Mm-hmm.
Topper says, I keep seeing people having issues with getting a tune to push into their car this week. Has there been a change, or are these outliers? Horsepower stars not aligned?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's horsepower stars, but there's definitely something going on with the way that SCT is loading files into cars, and something's changed because...
Yeah, I was just telling you, we were just having this conversation, and I sent you that screenshot over the weekend as well.
Yeah, and
What is going on here?
I've had probably 5 or 6 customers just this weekend and yesterday that have had issues getting files loaded to their cars, and
Yeah, I almost burned a GT500 out of anger.
yeah,
I'm so over
because that was what,
thing.
Wednesday or Thursday last week.
Friday
Okay.
and Monday together. So Friday, and then I came in and Monday. Yeah, so Friday and Monday, mostly Friday. Yeah, I'm ready to set it on fire.
And it seems to be a problem with Mako because some of these devices I know for a fact weren't updated before they were flashing cars.
Well, yeah, the one I was using, I updated it trying to fix the problem,
Poor
and it
boy.
didn't help it.
Poor boy says 5G is the problem.
5G. My man.
Maybe we can pour milk on the
Jonathan
program.
Whitaker says,
need some milk.
Whitaker says it's almost done.
Yep.
Almost ready. Pedro says he has a 10-valve supercharger project, a V10 supercharger project. Says, how does the 2 additional cylinders affect the performance of the supercharger?
Just more displacement. You'll make less boost at the
Yeah.
same airflow.
Yeah, you'll make more power at a smaller boost number because you have 2 extra cylinders contributing, but you have to fill those 2 extra cylinders.
So therefore you make less boost.
Therefore you make less boost, but less boost also means less heat.
Yeah.
So it'll just be more efficient all around.
And I should quantify that by saying at the same blower drive speed,
Yes,
you'll make less boost than you would at a smaller displacement engine.
correct.
Because what is boost?
A measure of restriction.
My man.
Mad Max says, hello VMP crew. What do you think about dust and water blockers for cold air intake filters? Are they restricting air?
I don't have
think-
testing on those.
I don't have Dyno A to B testing, but I think just by their nature of filtering at a higher level, that you're going to have more pressure drop across the filter and therefore less power.
Yeah.
Chad would like to know, Joe, where did you learn to tune, and what was the first vehicle you tuned?
Justin.
Justin, like, he handed me a laptop in the program and was like,
Do this.
yeah.
Threw you in the deep end, did he?
Yeah, well, you know how he operates. That's kind of like Justin 101. He gave me pointers when I asked, and gave me the tools to do it, and I just kind of learned.
And then he says, figure it out.
Yeah, essentially. You'll get it. Justin's a big proponent for trial by fire and learning by doing.
Yeah. That's all I learned.
And
didn't
as
have
far
anyone
as first
teach
car
me.
I tuned, the first car I extensively did was our own Red S550 back when we first got it. So that was like late 2014, early 2015. It's been a while now.
First car that I completely tuned by myself. I never had anyone teach me, but so the first one that I really sat down and I did was probably a ProCharge Mach 1, if I remember right.
Oh man.
So this is 04, 05. area. And this is when the Sniper software was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And I scooped up some Sniper software because I knew Pat really well.
Yeah.
And they hooked me up with some software, so I didn't have to go buy the big companies. And I just kind of, they had that Special Forces thing that would kind of build you a base file, and then I kicked it over to their not their Commando, their Delta Force, their big crazy one, and I'd went to town on it, boy, and that was
Got
that.
her done.
Just a lot of reading, a lot of books, and the rest was history.
Yeah.
The second car, I think, was a Pro-Charged Mark 8.
Sean Kurt says, can you guys tune my 14 Charger SRT currently tuned with Diablo?
What, 14?
14 Charger SRT.
Yes. Yeah, we can, if it's unlocked with Diablo, then yes, I can do that. That's not a problem. The only thing that throws a little bit of a trick is those are a narrowband vehicle. So I need some kind of wideband in the vehicle, or it needs to be on a dyno with a wideband so I can see what we're doing air fuel wise. But aside from that, no problem at all.
You don't need to know what air fuel's doing. You just need to set it right the first time, Matt.
You do though. You do, because see, the problem is Dodge only put good pistons in the Hellcats. Everything else got glass pistons.
No, you don't need AFR.
Right.
AFR is secondary to everything else.
So.
Okay. Let's see here. Michael has a question that's a little long. He says, I have a question about tuning in dynos.
Mm-hmm.
He's on 91 octane with Torco, 18 degrees of timing, and it held it with IAT2 at 112.
Okay.
The air fuel is good with my fuel pump booster and a 2.7 pulley with a Gen 3 on 67 millimeter throttle body.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a 123 intake. I know everyone's dyno is different, but my GT500 only made 588 on a Dynamite dyno. Car rips on the street. What gives? How are you guys making so much power on yours?
Based on what you're describing
I think
alone, it
that's a
sounds
dyno.
like a dyno issue.
Yeah.
If you're saying the car's ripping on the street, the car's making the power. Because I think you said 580 wheel?
588.
Yeah, 580 wheel is like just barely more power than like a bolt-on stock blower
Yes.
car.
Dynamite is a loaded dyno, similar to a Mustang dyno, and they're very susceptible to being loaded properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I use that Miata, for example, that we just did, that Miata. That Miata, I believe, made 530 on a Mustang dyno.
Mm-hmm.
Came here on, which is ridiculous because they don't even make that. That's below what they make stock.
Mm-hmm.
So it made like 530 or 536 on Mustang dyno. Brought it here and we didn't touch the car,
Mm-hmm.
and we dynoed it and it made 660 if I remember right. So we're talking 100 and 130 horsepower difference because it went from this like dyno that looked like it was loaded wrong
Mm-hmm.
to a dyno jet. Dyno jet tends to be the industry standard because they will read a more accurate number and it's
Or
harder
more
to mess with
consistent
them.
number.
More consistent. So I wouldn't worry about it. If you really want to know, take it to the drag strip, weigh the car, and go make a pass and see what the mile per hour is versus the weight of the vehicle. And
Log it when you're on the track.
So long story short, I think you just got on a stingy dyno.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
So, curious, Jeff. Jeff Scarlin says, I've seen this on VMP's site. The new 18 F-150 supercharger kit is expected to be available for purchase July 24th. Does this mean a Gen 3 and or Gen 3R? I asked because it's on the Roush Base 1 ad. I haven't seen anything. I'm
haven't
not
either.
sure.
We'll have to do more research into that.
I say go
And then,
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that at all. Ow.
what I'm trying to figure out right now is whether or not that AC is working. It has like a little error message
It
popping
has
up.
an error message.
Are you warm over there?
I'm warm everywhere.
It's been warm in here the last couple days.
I'm
And
gonna
I'm
take a
usually
gander at it.
cold.
And Joe's gone.
Room sensor not communicating.
And he's gone. There it is.
Just fix
Zell
it
has
real
a
quick.
5, looks like a supercharged 14. 5-liter. He says, Joe, my car knocks on part throttle or when I take off after a stop sign. It knocked 5.99 degrees max.
Interesting. So did he have a question?
Hear it?
Because that sounds an awful lot like an exhaust rattle or something.
Yeah, when you're loading.
Yeah, when you
engine's
get the engine to
twisting.
shift, like I've seen a bad motor mount cause the header to come up and just barely kiss the steering shaft or the bottom of the car. I've seen cat backs not be adjusted right. I've seen mid pipes not be adjusted right.
Yep.
To where just a little bit of contact sets the knock sensors going crazy.
That's what it sounds like. If it's a torque transition, I'd probably look at it as false. If you're just cruising steady and it's randomly knocking a bunch, then you might have something else.
Yeah, if it's like steady state at watt, it's knocking the whole time, and you've checked the exhaust and it's not rubbing anywhere and it's not in danger of rubbing anywhere. And what I mean by in danger of rubbing anywhere, like a 1/4 inch from a panel so that when the engine flexes, it could be touching the panel.
Right.
I guess in short, I'd start with making sure you don't have anything rubbing or close to rubbing on the exhaust first and go from there.
Thanks, Chris.
What he doing?
He's looking up info for me.
Oh, Chrissy.
John Arago says, would it be worth using a GT350 throttle body with adapter on a 13 Coyote? Are there measurable
Hell
power
to the no.
and
To the
performance
no,
gains?
no. Hell to the no.
There you go.
To the no. To the no.
No, it won't
no.
work. Different electronics.
Yeah, different electronics. Until someone proves me wrong or shows me dyno data on my dyno, the throttle body upgrades on a naturally aspirated 11 to 14 GT do not make a damn bit of difference.
Nope.
Fight me.
Agreed.
Don't waste your money.
And the only data I can contribute is I did a before and after on the Ford Racing 90, and it didn't do anything.
Yep.
Unless,
I've done Ford Racing 90. I've done BBK 85. I think BBK has like an 88 or a 90 as well. And I've never seen a...
Now, these are on mostly stock or bolt-on cars, mind you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If you had like a high
Like-
compression camshaft ported head car, then yeah.
On a CJ,
yeah.
which even then you go in a GT500 throttle body.
Right.
So it starts to become a moot point.
Save the money, spend it elsewhere.
Yeah. Spend it on real power.
Would it be possible to install a 2013 TVS on a regular GT? What?
I think he's probably talking about a 2013 GT500 TVS on a regular 13 GT. If he is talking about that, I believe Department of Boost makes a kit to run a GT500 supercharger on a Coyote. I think at the end of the day, that kit's still $4,500 or $5,000. If you wanted a new kit with a warranty, save up a little bit more money and get one of our Stage 1 kits, and then you get a better blower and a well-packaged kit with a tune and everything. Not to say that Department of Boost's kit is not well-packaged, but, you know, this is the VMP Tuning Tuesday show.
Yes.
Brian would like to know, what tune would you recommend for the 18 intake manifold swap on a 15 to 17 GT that already has a Corsa Extreme catback, and why?
You said what tune would
Yeah.
we
What
recommend? The tune for the highest quality fuel you have available to you from VMP.
Wow. I got nothing. Move.
And then?
Cameron I know, I always says, as a Terminator owner, is there a better solution than the SCT X4?
At this time, there is not.
No.
HP is working on getting some of the issues they had with EEC5 tuning addressed, but at the end of the day, your car is already dialed in on SCT. If we were to transition you to HP software with an Engage or just HP flash directly with an MPVI2, there's no power difference for you. If we were in the beginning stages where your car was not currently tuned, you did a whole bunch of mods, and we needed to tune your car to make sure everything's good, get the most power out of it, all that shit, then at that point you could make the argument that you could either go SCT or HP, and whichever one I'd say is more aesthetically pleasing to you or easier for you to log or anything like that is probably the better choice for you to go with. But with where we're at now, I wouldn't suggest changing devices at this point. You're already financially invested in the SCT stuff, and to transition to HP once they get everything figured out is going to cost you a substantial amount of money at no real net gain in terms of power.
Footnotes or clip notes? No.
Yeah.
Gary has a 14 GT500 bone stock. Is it possible to get your power pack with a slightly more aggressive cammed idle via tune?
On a GT500? Only with oil pump gears and a GT350 throttle body.
I feel like I need to answer that as Beavis and Butthead. No.
No.
Like the scene where they're working at that fast food place. And he's like, "Are you guys open?" No. Good times.
Oh, no, sorry. No Lopi idle. Check back next week.
Good luck.
Aiden says you guys should do a Q&A.
That's what we're doing.
Wait a second.
That's what we're doing.
True story.
I think he meant the FAQ.
Yes.
Poor Boy says, VMP, you guys make my day a lot nicer when working on a GM crossdock in this Michigan humidity. Talk about
Michigan
humid. Come on down.
They do have humidity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They do have it.
well, yeah, because they're like, well,
They're basically Florida.
I would say they're the northern Florida.
Yep.
It's the mitten.
I lived
Exactly.
in Michigan for a while. It wasn't Florida.
No, it's not Florida. But it does get humid and it does get
Yeah.
hot. Which are two things that Florida is as well.
Yeah, but then it also has that powdered white stuff. Ugh.
At a different time of year usually.
Ugh.
I've been all up in that powdered white stuff up in Michigan.
Wagonator says, hey BMP crew, I got
Wow.
a Gen 1 Coyote with a Gen 2R 79 millimeter pulley. Want to make high 600 horsepower. What's the next step for me? Thanks a lot for the help. Love
More
it.
octane.
More octane.
And Dan?
Go to Lowe's, get some toluene.
Toluene? Is it toluene or toluene?
I don't know.
That is the real question.
Xylene does it too, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Some old school
So-
race car stuff. Anything with lead in it.
So Spiker and Whedon are on the line, and they're both talking about how Ashanti sent them here for the auction. Yeah, I know where this is going. The couch is in your office. It's
Couch is
actually
always in
in
the-
sales now, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, we threw that thing out. We moved it.
And Mike, I'd like to see the shoe on your head later. Let's see here. Turbinator Lou says 660 rear wheel horsepower on a Miata. That's effing insane.
You ain't wrong.
That was what it baselined at. Wink, wink.
Wee.
Can you tell us what do we expect to see on your dual fuel pump, price and availability?
I don't know price and availability. I can tell you that the way that we are looking at everything marketing wise, where we're looking to be price wise is kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
So
We're trying to come in between the budget kits, but when you need more than a budget kit, but you don't want to mortgage your house to buy the elite kits.
Yeah.
Should,
But you still want to get that job done.
right. So
And I can tell you I've tested our kit about as high and as far as you can take it.
yeah,
And it more than supported it, so.
I seen it. I was there.
You've seen it, the things. You guys will see a video soon on it.
Yeah, that video's coming out soon.
Do you guys know when that video is coming out?
It will be out on Monday the 15th.
Oh, man. So
Kevin
close.
Says for a Coyote engine, will a supercharger be better than twin turbo for drag racing?
Depends on your ET goal. If your ET goal is in the sixes, you may want to consider a twin setup or a whole lot of weight reduction. If your ET goal is what we'll call mid sevens and above, depending on what you're willing to do to the rest of the car, I'd say a blower is a good bet.
Mark would like to know, what are your recommendations on spark plug heat range on boosted Coyotes for different boost levels, like 13, 18, and 23 PSI?
Depends on fuel.
Depends on the amount of compression your engine builder suggested you go with for your engine.
Yeah, the problem is that you got the NGK7, which is colder, obviously, and then the problem is it starts to get a little fuzzy after that. You can go to the Brisk, which has the equivalent of like an 8 and a 9, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of those, but I mean, they're there.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Denso has some colder ones, but I don't remember the part numbers that's equivalent of an 8. So the problem is after you're trying to go colder than a 7, it gets a little fuzzy. That being said, on E85, colder plugs usually are not a big deal.
Yeah.
I've done plenty of 1400 plus horsepower Coyotes on 7 plugs.
Mm-hmm.
So the E85 doesn't need it. Now if you're trying to do C16, Q16 race gas car, then you probably should put a colder plug in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'd say like 23 pounds and above, throw an RR10
yeah,
in there, or
sevens will
RR12.
take you. The NGK 7s will take you a very far way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say all the way up to like 22 pounds, run a 7 heat range NGK or a 12 heat range, 12 or 14 heat range brisk.
Yeah.
Mad Max says, I have a 17 with your Gen 2 setup. I went with 56-pound injectors by mistake. I have a Siley return system, oil pump gears, etc. What would I gain by going with a 67mm throttle body and ID 1050s?
You wouldn't gain any power really going to ID 1050s from the 56s. It just increases the amount of fuel flow potential you have at the injector.
Unless he's out of injector at higher RPM, if we can rev it higher.
Yeah, well, the issue is you don't really run out of injector until you get to the point where you need more octane on our blower.
Okay.
So like those 56s are good all the way down to a 75mm pulley, but going to a 75, you need more than just 93.
Right.
So you're already at like another limit. The
works.
throttle body, you probably get 15 horsepower out of it at that level, maybe even 20, depending on if you're twin 60 or twin 65 currently. And then I think that addresses both of your questions.
WK Goen says, I have a 2010 GT500, 5.8 supercharger. Do you have a kit that goes with that blower swap? Tune and supporting mods needed.
That'd just be a level 3 blower, or not level 3 blower, level 3 blower tune. The mods that you would need could be purchased all a la carte. We don't have a kit specifically set up for the Trinity blower because frankly we don't sell Trinity blowers.
Used to.
Michael Snook wants to know, how do you feel about the twin Aeromotive Stealth 340 pumps for the Lightning?
I've never used them in a Lightning.
No, and I don't think I would. I'd just run a Walbro pump.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't used them in a Lightning. I tend to stick with what works.
Mm-hmm.
Your Walbro, is it the GSS 342 or whatever that thing is?
Yep.
Will take you where you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if that's not enough, I would do something like a 465.
Yep, a part number 274 pump. High
Yeah.
pressure.
I don't know who's making these 340s, but they all seem to be the same color and look the same. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who's making them. I question some of their durability. Maybe the Aeromotive's good. I haven't used a lot of them. I'm just saying.
I know that you don't want to try and run them returnless.
Right, I know that.
You burn them hell up.
Yeah, so I think that's part of it. I like my Walbros.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Kurtz, who was asking whether or not you could tune his 14 Charger SRT.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He says the car has MMX NSR cams, Cooks long tubes, high flow cats, SLP loudmouth exhaust, 86mm throttle body. Would you recommend staying with the Diablo tuner? I heard some other tuning companies' tuners are starting to work much better with Dodge than in the past few years.
That is accurate, especially when you're getting into camshaft areas and throttle body areas. So you've already got the.
He's already got the Predator.
Well, yeah, he's already got the Diablo, so it's one of those. Probably just keep that for now, and see if you can at least try with what you've got now. But that is accurate. Their their Dodge program has grown leaps and bounds, and it's predominantly all I use now. Not that I won't use Diablo, it's just that it's far superior in every way. So, but at the end of the day, the Diablo will still work 90% of the time, So I wouldn't go jumping ship just yet. Let's see if we can make it work with what you've got now, and then if I can't, then we'll switch it or work something out.
Eli says, do you guys tune FIC injectors? The pound
We
rating
do.
versus price compared to ID injectors is whacked. FIC seems like quality stuff.
We do.
I've not had a problem with FIC.
I have a fuel injector clinic shirt on right now.
Yeah, I've not had a problem with their stuff.
Yeah.
Their 1650s have fought me occasionally, but if you're running 1650s, you're going to be prepared to fight anyway.
I like the FIC 1000s.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mad Max, who has the 17.
Yeah,
with-
Max Andreev.
He says he's twin 60, was looking to go E85 currently, so.
He's the one that asked, was he
If
asking
you
about the
were,
injector upgrade?
Maybe. If he's twin 60 currently, a twin 67 is about a 15 to 20 horsepower bump at your level. If you're looking to go E85, then you absolutely need a minimum of ID 1050s.
Yeah.
I believe you've already put a VMP Gen 3 on, so you may want to look into a set of ID 1300s because that blower will take you to a place where ID 1300s become necessary pretty quickly, especially when you start doing Ford short block stuff. But the ID 1300s are significantly more expensive, so if you're looking at being in like the 780, 800 wheel range and ever going beyond that, 1050 should work fine. If you're looking at ever going beyond that, wait, save up a little bit more money, pick up ID 1300s. Bum, bum, bum.
So we have about 1 minute left, but I have a couple things I want to read off here and then end it with one question. So Topper Harley says, I really miss having a Predator to tune versus the SCT stuff. Tuning with the Mopires with Predator spoiled me. They work 99% of the time every time.
Old Diablo, yes.
60% of the time it works.
Old
every
Diablo was
time.
incredible.
And he said that 1% is forgetting to turn the key on. Pedro Gonzalez says the future VMP Gen 4R can reach nearly 2,000 horsepower? Question mark.
I'm just going to go to sleep on my desk if those are
And
the
then with
questions you're
that
going
said,
to
here's
get.
the last question.
Good night.
Stu Boy says, would you rather drive a Dodge Stealth or an Eagle Talon, and why?
Ooh, is the Dodge Stealth an RT twin turbo?
Naturally.
Or is it a naturally aspirated
Well,
Dodge
let's
Stealth?
call it what it is. It's a 3000 GT VR4.
Yep.
Dodge didn't make it. Mitsubishi did. And same thing. The Talon is just an Eclipse. So
And both are available all-wheel drive.
right. So you
I would probably
you've got
pick the
the GSX
Stealth.
and you've got the VR4. The Stealth looks way better. Like
Yeah.
it is a.
To me, it looks like a probe, which I
I've
like
actually
probes.
always liked one of those cars. I love them. However, the aftermarket support is not there, and they're infinitely more expensive to mod than an Eclipse.
They are.
And there's no. I don't know if you ever worked on one. It is.
They are a nightmare.
they're
It's
a
like working
colo-
on a 300ZX.
Yeah, exactly. There's just absolutely no room in it.
Yeah.
So I feel that I'd
Hold a motor for every service procedure.
I think I'd have more fun. So I think the 3000 GT, which would be the Stealth, looks better.
Yeah.
But I think I'd probably have to pick the Eclipse because that platform is going to take me farther. Because I'm a gearhead. I'm not going to leave it alone, ever. So I think that platform's going to take me farther.
I'd pick a Stealth.
So well, you get the Stealth, I'll get the Talent, and we race.
So Whedon came back and said Talon all day.
Whedon's
Terminator
biased. He
Lou.
had talons.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's a talon
See, so
boy.
that's 2-1. What's up?
Terminator Lou says Talon.
See, 3-1.
Topper
Come at me,
Harley.
bro.
Topper Harley says VR4 all-wheel steering.
Ooh, 3-2.
And he said good points on the 4G63.
Yep.
And that's it.
Those things will do like 600 a tire, a stock long block kind of deal. Like it's just
On
it's
E80
nuts.
fizzle or race
it's like,
gas?
It's nuts.
And then?
No and
And
then.
with that,
No more and then.
No and then.
And that we out of here.
it's a different. Oh, by the way, it's a different Mad Max. He says different Mad Max, but I
Max is
hear what you're
harder.
saying. I'll drop the car off in the next few weeks.
Sweet.
Like it.
Like, share, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. If you want to see me drink milk, ask them to release the video of me drinking milk in competitive format.
In competitive formats.
Someone came back and said, "How about just an Escort Cosworth?"
Ooh, RS200
yeah.
gives me the right types of feelings in my
There we
lungs.
go. Now we're getting into some.
I would take an RS200
Absolutely.
over a Mint Talon and a Mint Stealth
Yeah.
RT.
You know what else I like is all the Mercors, the XR4.
Mercury 4, XR4
Yeah,
Ti.
the XR4 Ti, baby.
Yeah, that's like the only Cosworth style car you can get in the United
Yeah, it's
States.
still gangster though. Dude.
Yeah,
I love
super
that.
gangster.
I drive it.
Although there was a Mercury Capri that was sold at Mecum this past year that had like Cosworth everything, and it was phenomenal. I'll have to show you the pictures.
I would like to see that. I have not seen that.
You
one.
you would rethink your whole Maserati thing if you saw
I
it.
like my nostalgia Ford.
Yep.
I like my nostalgia.
We like our
Ford.
probes. We like all that stuff. But not to get off track, you guys have yourself a good week.
I say good day.
Drink all the chocolate milk you can possibly inhale. And
Don't inhale it. Milk
Travis
monkeys.
Schott
the
says
people that are
release-
asking me about oil pump gears, go ahead and inhale it.
Travis Schott says, release the milk video of Joe, exclamation point. He says, I'd take the RS200 as well, Joe.
I think everyone with two
Brain
sides
cell.
of a brain would take an RS200.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. With that said,
We Audi 5000.